kinda.
If only life were as simple as the playful dance between a youngster and that most faithful friend.
I'm surprised she hasn't collapsed yet, the dog.
But Corrine Carvahlo makes life work, no matter how complicated.
3 cats, 2 birds, and a dog. Because the kids weren't enough.
Her blended family with 5 kids and 2 grandkids really adds flavor to her professional work.
I see the Old Testament differently than my colleagues who don't have kids, lots of colleagues who don't have kids. And I think, it helps me teach. I know it helps me teach at St. Thomas.
Everyday life offering perspective to a professor, and not just any professor.
And then when she texted me and told me that she got Professor of the Year, there was many more exclamation points.
And why not? Dr. Corrine Carvahlo is the University of St. Thomas Professor of the Year.
I was embarrassed by how great I felt about that. Because I tend to think of these things, I'm going to be very, calm, and this is a nice, I'm humbled by it. No, I was like, yes.
That infectious laugh energizes her theology courses.
Okay, so God frees the Israelites when
ranging from the freshman staple Christian theological tradition to courses exploring multicultural perspectives and the Old Testament, including a personal favorite, the prophets.
I hope, first of all, that they realize that questions about religion in the Bible are important in our culture, in American culture today, and that they don't just swallow things hook, line, and sinker because somebody makes a claim about it.
I love about her is that she has a calling to a higher standard for everybody.
Theology graduate Felicia Willert studied under Carvalho, and her graduate work elsewhere reflects Carvalho's inspiration.
It's funny because I think she recognized before I did a passion that I had for studying Old Testament.
I told her she's going to be a biblical scholar, whether she knows it yet or not.
A desire to teach undergraduates and work at a faith-based institution helped lead Carvalho from Florida State to St. Thomas in 1996. She brought graduate degrees from both coasts, including a PhD from Yale.
I know. What the heck am I doing in the middle of the country, far from an ocean?
She's doing everything.
Finally, with a sack full of clothes and a paper bag of sweetbread her mama sent.
From events like this banned book reading to multiple scholarly projects and ongoing committee work representing women's interests.
Reading these accounts really does affect the way I read biblical texts.
In fact, Carvalho has been director of the Luann Dummer Center for Women since 2006.
She has done a fabulous job of being sure that women's voices are heard, drawing attention to concerns that women face.
And like the center's namesake, Dr. Luann Dummer, Carvalho is now Professor of the Year.
She has raised a family. The students are her family. The faculty around here are her family. It is huge. But I didn't realize that so few women had been chosen as Professor of the Year.
In a list that now goes back more than a half-century, Dr. Carvalho is the 7th woman to be named Professor of the Year.
There are very few women in academia who succeed who have children, and that's sad. We shouldn't have a profession where you have these two vocations not compatible.
Carvalho says family has actually made her a better scholar, more organized, more focused. A rewarding life that works for Carvalho, her family, and her students.
And I've always been interested in theology as it's lived in the world. And that's usually among people with families.
Ladies and gentlemen, your 2012 Professor of the Year, Dr. Corrine Carvahlo.